Hello there, dear friend, and welcome back to this episode of Coffee and Tea with Justin and Tashina.
Excuse me?
Tashina.
No. That's not my name.
Tanisha.
Ugh.
Tashinista.
Tashina.
Tashishan, sorry. Tashish Navidad.
I
If
think
you like Tashina coladas and getting caught in the rain. #.
Oh man. All right. On that note, yeah.
Today was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, we were kind of all over the place, but
sure were.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I would say there are definitely parts of this where I felt like crying. Mm-hmm. So if you, not in like a angry, upset way, but in more of like a sad way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you're not into that, then this is not going to be the episode for you. You're going to want to go ahead and skip it.
Yep, probably.
Skip it like the 90s thing that you bought at Kmart.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Skip-Its?
I had a friend that had one, and I remember using it, and sometimes it would like fly up and like hit you in the shin or the ankle, and it was the most painful thing.
That's funny.
That's what I remember
funny.
most about those.
Yeah. Skip-Its.
Skip-Its.
I had a cousin that had one.
Yeah?
Jackie. You know Jackie.
Yeah.
She had a Skip-It. Pretty sure it was bright pink.
I think they all were.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think there were maybe 2 color options. I don't know. I never had one.
But yeah, it's probably pink and blue. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, that'd be my guess too. Anyway.
Gender roles, am I right? So today we talk about the movie, not in this order, but we talk about the movie 1917.
Yeah.
Which we watched last night, and I loved it. I think you loved it.
I liked
I
it
didn't
too.
ask though. Okay, you liked it. I loved
Yeah.
it. Tashina liked it. We talk about that, and that is where the emotions really start to fly.
Yeah.
And then what did we talk about before that?
Before that, we talked about fun news related to food that people are ordering
Oh, right.
during everything that's going on,
Yeah.
which I found interesting.
It's a great story.
And homemade pasta. Again, bread versus pasta. That big battle that's going on. And we also talked about a variety of other things.
Mostly movie related.
Yeah,
1917 really took us into some talk about movies and celebrities and who are our dream people to have on the show.
Yeah.
And just random weird stuff.
Yep.
Tashina talks a lot about Wes Anderson and Weezer. So.
Yep. All good things. All the W things.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
What are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful that last night we unplugged a little bit and hung out and had like dinner and a movie at home. Like we had like an at-home date night, basically. And that was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't really planned, but that is kind of how it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
What are you grateful for?
I mean, so many things. So many things. Having to pick one right now that I feel particularly grateful for, it's just the ability to do this.
Yeah.
And to create things. I think that it can be hard and scary, and I'm really grateful that we have so many supportive people. And I'm also really just grateful that we've both worked so hard to be comfortable doing stuff like this, because it would be really easy to make it not comfortable.
Yeah.
It's been fun to do.
Yeah, it has been.
And even though we haven't, like, you know, we're not going to, like, come out of quarantine with 6 packs and, like, being the most productive we've ever been. Not that we're in quarantine. In fact, Utah doesn't even have a statewide stay-at-home order. But despite that, I think that we are creating a lot of cool stuff that's different than what we would normally be doing.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm really grateful that we've both taken the time to do that and have this time to hang out together.
Me too. It's nice.
Oh, good.
Well.
Oh, you know what else I'm grateful for?
What?
Our Logical Harmony apparel is supposed to arrive tomorrow.
That is exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. And I can't wait to wear it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm grateful for another thing. Normally, I despise it when Tashina does my laundry. However, the other day, I asked you to do my laundry, and you did all of it. Mm-hmm. Like, all of it. Because I've been wearing, like, the same socks for 3 days, the same shirts for 3 days. Obviously, I only own one hoodie. So I've just been, like, getting
You've been putting it off.
Yeah. And then you washed every single piece of my laundry the other day, and it was just amazing. I feel so excited to have all this clean clothes. So
Good.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, I think that this would be an absolutely perfect time to jump into the episode. Hey, Tashina, do you happen to have a funny news story to talk about?
Oddly enough, I do.
Oh, it's so weird that I would ask that.
Yeah, I know. What are the odds?
I don't know.
So obviously in most states, people are staying home if it's possible for them. And they polled different delivery sites to figure out in each state what was like the main thing people were ordering.
Okay.
And so I went through and it was like, most popular by state. And there were a few things that I thought were funny.
All right.
Well, one, no surprise, it was all comfort food. There were no salads. There were no smoothies. It was all comfort food.
So these were all grocery stores that were being polled?
No,
or?
restaurants. So they polled
Oh.
like Uber Eats, DoorDash, those delivery
Got it.
services.
Okay.
And the overwhelming most popular thing was different variations of fries.
Oh, all right.
So in California, it was just plain French fries. But here in Utah, it was like carne asada fries or something. And I was like very surprised by that.
Yikes.
It was a lot of fried foods, a lot of pasta. Anyway, I thought it was funny because I feel like a lot of us are very much embracing the comfort food thing right now. Mm-hmm. I know I am. Mm-hmm. And then you're also seeing the extreme polar opposite of people being like, this is your time to like eat a smoothie every day, eat a salad for every meal, really like get in shape. And like, anyway, I just thought the data was funny.
Yeah.
So it got me thinking though.
I would agree with both of those sentiments.
I agree with both of them too, but when you're not going to the grocery store, it's a lot harder to have fresh food.
True.
So, like, I will fully admit, yesterday I ate canned pears because
we both did.
Yeah, we are out of.
And
we have like 2 apples.
And I made that giant pot of chili.
Yeah,
with
totally.
Homemade sourdough.
Yeah, and
it's pretty tasty.
Yeah,
gotta say.
It was really good.
Thank you.
But yeah, I've definitely been eating a lot of comfort food. It'd be great to be like, I'm on this smoothie and salad kick, but it's challenging for sure.
Yeah, totally.
And I get that this is what people are ordering out. You're definitely way more likely to order something that's harder to make at home. Mm-hmm. But I just found it interesting. Oregon's was fried chicken. I thought that was fascinating. It was interesting that it was fried foods and pasta dishes.
Yeah.
Was the theme.
Huh. That's very interesting.
Yeah. And apparently now a lot of people have moved on from sourdough starter and making your own pasta is the new trend.
That's so funny. Mm-hmm. That's such weird timing that I made pasta the other day because it was completely, unrelated to like recent events.
Yeah, totally.
That's very fascinating.
It's something we've talked about wanting to do for a long time and just haven't.
Which I'm sure is, yeah.
I'm sure that's most people. That's what you're just about to say.
Yeah. I'm sure that's totally what's happening is people are like, all right, what else do I want to do?
Yeah.
Especially because I think sourdough starter uses a lot more flour than probably people realize.
Yeah, I think so.
And then if you didn't do it right, you may have wasted like 7 days of waiting for it.
Yeah.
And if you did do it right, then you're going to make a loaf of bread that uses like, 70% of your bag of flour. And I'm sure people are like, wait a minute, hold on.
Flour's still hard to find.
Yeah, I did not realize this is what I was signing up for.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think you're right. Anyway, so those are my funny news stories that I read.
Wow, thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, they're not as uplifting as Guy playing Animal Crossing, but I enjoyed them still.
I enjoyed them as well. It is fascinating to know.
Yeah.
I saw a similar tweet today, which is not accurate, but I well, I'll just say what the tweet is and then I'll give you my thoughts. The tweet was something along the lines of, we're at the point in quarantine where Amazon is sold out of podcasting microphones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I thought was super funny.
Yeah, it is.
I went and started looking at podcasting microphones. They're not sold out. But what I would imagine is they're probably sold out of all the most popular ones.
Yeah, that would be my guess,
like
too.
I'm pretty sure even these are sold out already. Yeah.
Dang.
Which I'm glad we got them
Yeah.
because right when we bought them, the price started going up already, and that was before any of this had even really hit.
Yeah, it was like when we kind of had a feeling of what was coming, but weren't totally sure. I would say
It had nothing to do with why we bought them, though.
No, we were thinking of getting them anyway.
Well, I wanted to buy them to try to force you to do a podcast with me.
Okay, you were thinking of getting them.
It's a team effort now, but let's not make it sound like it was a team effort in the beginning.
Okay, fair enough. It was not a team effort. It was you.
Yeah. But yeah, we had them. I think you might be remembering the timeline a little wrong. We had them for like 2 weeks before anyone in the U.S. was doing shelter in place.
Yeah.
We just weren't using them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what I mean by it's not like we bought them knowing what was coming.
I think I said that. I think you said the opposite.
Oh. Well, I meant, maybe I worded it weird, but that is what I meant, is that we didn't know what was coming.
Neither of us have left the house in like 3 days, which is typically the normal number of days, like outside of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
3 days is generally the point at which I'm like, oh, I haven't gone outside.
Mm-hmm. I don't really notice. I'm really good at doing that, though. Like, it's totally normal, even before shelter in place, for me to be like, when did I go outside? Like, aside from, like, you know, going to, like, our apartment laundry room or taking out the trash or checking the mail or whatever, like, when did I actually leave the property?
That's just sort of our lives.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier for me. I also, too, I get so heads down on stuff that I lose track of days. And I will this happens even with my mom. She'll message me, like she'll text me or call me and I'll be like, yeah, that was like 2 days ago. It's fine. And then I actually I'm like, oh, that was like 3 weeks ago. So I'm definitely more guilty of that right now because I think days are kind of running together.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stay on top of it, but it's a challenge.
Are you trying?
I am.
Oh.
I am trying. Yeah.
I thought you just didn't care.
No, I care. It's just... I'm trying to balance all the different outlets, basically, which is a challenge. I'm boring you. All right.
No.
So last night...
I don't think I've ever yawned from boredom. Like, who yawns from being bored? It's such a weird, thing to put on a yawn.
I think I've yawned in meetings where I was bored because my body's just like, I need more oxygen to
Sure, there's nothing stimulating you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would say I've yawned from being bored. I doubt I'm the only one in the world. Stop yawning. You're going to make me yawn. I'm just going to stare at you.
Okay. It doesn't bother me. You do that a lot.
That's true. I do. So how they
Tashina
say...
will just come into a room and just stand there and just stare at me.
You're also really good, though, at as soon as I look at you, you look up and you think that I've been staring at you.
Okay. Well, that may be the case. But you also love to just, come in and just...
Hang out.
Stand. Yeah, but you're not hanging out. You're not, talking to me or anything.
No, I'm, standing there. A lot of times it'll be when you're working and a cat's there, and I'm I'm watching the cat. I'm not paying attention to you.
Yeah.
I'm there because applesauce is there. She's right here.
Okay.
I'm giving her
Little butt pat.
Yep. Okay, so last night you made chili, which was super good.
Thank you. I know.
Would you say it was pretty easy to make? Because I feel like you kind of cleaned out random bits in our pantry for it.
Yeah. So the whole reason I made chili was to do that. And I was really pleasantly surprised when I found out that we had maybe a cup and a half of pinto beans because my plan was to just use lentils and I wasn't super excited about that.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, we had a whole jar, I think, of pintos.
Yeah. No.
Almost.
It was like I said, about a cup and a half.
All right. But you didn't add red beans. We have red beans also.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Mother flipper, where are those?
The beans are in jars in a little line. So if you went past the lentils, you would have hit the red beans.
Then I think I used the red beans the last time I made pinto beans.
No, they're still in there because when I reorganized the pantry last night, they were there.
Oh, well, I missed them.
Tidy things in the pantry, so I often pull sections out and reorganize.
Well, clearly
Anyway.
that's helping.
Hey, now. Okay.
You're an all-star.
So, oh gosh. All right. Well, painful. So, okay. To pinto beans.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into
lentils.
what I put in it because we talked about it in yesterday's episode.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I will say it was a way of making chili that I've never made before, which is where I put like a ton of stuff, not with any liquid and not with any beans or anything, just like a ton of like chilies and onions and garlics and whatever,
all the vegetables.
Peppers. Yeah. And then still before putting any liquid in, I put the dried beans and dried lentils.
Yeah.
And let that cook in there for a while. And then the liquid that I started adding was like tomato sauce.
Yeah.
Not pasta sauce. And like crushed tomatoes from a can.
That's how I like to do soups. I feel like it gives it all a little more flavor. It like kind of caramelizes everything a little bit. Personally, that's my reasoning for doing it.
Yeah. Oh, and the oil that I used was you had made popcorn in that pot the night before. And it was like that coconut. It's supposed to really taste like butter.
Yeah.
And I didn't add any oil. I just used the residue that was in the pot from that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's tasty. Okay, so then while we were eating dinner, we watched a movie, which was 1917.
Yep.
Which you picked out.
I sure did.
So why did you pick it? Because I was very surprised by that pick from you.
Right. I had no intention of ever watching that movie because I'm not really a fan of war movies.
Yeah.
And I've come to realize that I'm particularly not a fan from maybe from an entertainment aspect I would watch these, but from like a social aspect, I'm really not a fan of movies that romanticize war.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And again, they might be entertaining.
Yeah.
But there's just something about them that I'm like, I could have done without ever watching that movie. Anyway. I do, however, like movies about war that do not romanticize it at all. And I like it when movies, which this movie did not do, but I do like it when movies blend the line between good and bad. Especially like movies like this one, which are based in like World War I and World War II.
Yeah.
I think it's so easy to say these were the good guys, these were the bad guys. And I do think it's fascinating when that line gets blurred.
Yeah.
Going back to like that book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor. He talks about how there were some people in the camps that, well, you'd have to read the book. This is a massive oversimplification, but effectively there were people who were in the camps as prisoners that you would consider to be quote unquote bad people, and people who were there as soldiers that you would call good people.
Yeah.
And then people that were there as soldiers who you would obviously think would be bad people, but these were some people that he experienced like human kindness from while in the camps. And anyway, I'm not in any way trying to imply that Nazis were good people, so don't take it that way. But what I'm saying is that I think in war there's a lot more nuance than we want to believe. Like we want to just be able to say that side was bad, we are good, here's the line. It's black and white. There's zero gray area. And I think, honestly, if you're trying to get young people to murder each other, which is what war is, then, yeah, it's probably pretty important to have them think that there's no gray area and that they are the good guys and the other people are the bad guys.
Well, and I think too, when it comes down to it, a lot of people's decision making in the moment is probably purely based on survival.
Yeah.
Like depending on the circumstance. And I feel like in that situation, it's very easy for, you know, quote unquote, good people to do things that are quote unquote bad, or quote unquote bad people to do things that are quote unquote good. Like there are elements to survival and elements to basic human connection.
Yeah.
That kind of go back and forth.
Yeah, I think this is why I despise hypotheticals. I just think hypotheticals are just the biggest waste of time, especially when it comes to things that are like really intense, because you really have no idea how you would act.
Yeah, and I think it's tough too, especially looking back at, you know, wars where people were drafted or countries where military service is required. It doesn't necessarily mean that people believed in what they were there to do. It was they were there and had to do it. I think, weird tangent, but I think Star Wars in the new ones does a good job of playing with that with Finn, who was the stormtrooper because that was what he had to do. Like they took him because they were orphans, right? And like that was just anyway.
Yeah. I think that it's a fine line and that it's a pretty touchy subject to be like, oh, you're just doing your job and so that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying not everyone's there because they choose to be. That's more of what I mean.
Yeah. I think that goes down to the semantics of what you consider a choice to be.
Yeah, probably.
I feel like we could argue that everything is a choice. The person could have chose to be shot and killed instead of serving in the Nazi armies.
That's true. Anyway.
Yeah, but I guess that's kind of my point about hypotheticals, though, is it's so easy to sit and judge, and it's also like what's going on today that later on people will look back on and be like, you were complacent. How dare you be okay with this stuff? And we're going to be like, we were just living our lives, trying to survive, trying to make podcasts and talk about cats.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Man. Okay. So back to the movie.
Again, I had no intention of watching it. And then I wish that I could remember who posted this because I want to thank them. Like I want to reach out and be like, thank you so much for suggesting this movie. But the reality is I think it was just some random person that I follow on Instagram.
Yeah, I think so too.
And what they had posted was like, oh, you have to watch this movie because it's shot in a way that makes the whole thing feel like it was one take. And that's pretty true. It's
very true.
Like, just war aside, your feelings about stories about war aside, just how long some of these shots go on for is like, I mean, wow. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, every single aspect of it, the actors, obviously, for one, being able to just do these long scenes just where they're, 5, 10, 15, some of them felt like they were just these 30-minute long one take scenes.
Or so complicated too. Like so many elements, even if it's a short scene.
I don't know that I felt that way. Can you give me an example of one of the scenes that you...
One of the scenes on the battlefield where he's running one way and all the other soldiers are running the other. That wasn't necessarily a long scene, but the coordination in that would be really complex because there's so many literally moving elements.
Yeah. Yeah, so exactly. So the actors, the sets, like I was thinking some of these scenes where they're going through these trenches and how were they moving the camera?
Yeah.
How was it somebody walking? Was it a crane that's being pulled through this? Like, I would love to see a lot of this behind the scenes stuff. Was it on a track? And then if it was on a track and it's right in front of these actors, how are the actors not tripping on the track? Just so, yeah, from like a set design and
Yeah.
like just the logistics of getting these shots. Like, there's one shot where they're tracking, and it feels to me very much like you're walking with these people. Mm-hmm. And then there's this huge, like, I guess you could call it like a pond, and the people are going around the pond, and instead of continuing to track with the people like you would think you would have to do if it was a camera operator tracking these two dudes, it like pulls down and kind of hovers across this pond. It's just like,
it's so interesting.
Yeah.
It gives you such a different feel for it.
I think I want to watch it again tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
I was going to say there were definitely, I mean, obviously in any war movie, there's some very intense scenes. I felt like this was intense in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me it was intense in a very subtle way, which kind of made it more emotional.
Yeah.
Because it was like they didn't try to make you feel something.
No.
It was so subtle that you just,
and just little things, little elements about the scenes. I mean, there are some obvious big things that happen, but there are so many little tiny things where it's the emotional connection. You see the characters being emotional, basically, but not at the same time. It's interesting. It was a good movie.
Yeah. I think it might be one of my favorite movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because of how it was done. I don't know. I guess I don't watch a lot of movies, so maybe there are a lot of movies that are done like this, but I don't think so. How it was done, how it was acted.
Yeah.
The very small amount of dialogue.
Yeah.
And when there was dialogue, just what it was, like the humanity of a lot of it. I love that. Well, so one of the things that I tend to not like about war movies is that they'll often have like one scared dude, and then this whole, platoon or battalion or whatever the word is, of all these like battle hardened soldiers that are like getting out there
and they love it.
And maybe the reality is that maybe that's true sometimes, right? Like, I would imagine that by the time you become a Navy SEAL and you're going into these situations, you may be shaken a little bit, but you probably have a lot more mental, emotional training to handle these situations than someone like who's just a ground soldier in the Army.
Yeah.
Not that there's... Which, I mean, realistically is, I think, kind of a failure probably of the system. Anyway, this is not meant to be like commentary on what soldiers are better as much as it's just my thoughts on maybe how they're trained differently.
Yeah.
So maybe it is true in some scenarios, but I really loved that for the casting of this, oftentimes when you do see these huge amounts of soldiers, they're kids.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how old they are in real life, and I don't know how old they were in that time period when it takes place in the year of 1917. I do, however, think that now, being in my early 30s, when I see someone who's 18, I 9 times out of 10 think you are a child. Like, I don't care if 6 months ago you were 17, and now you're technically an adult, or like, I don't care if you can grow more facial hair than I can. Typically, when you look at an 18-year-old, at least when I do, you can see what I'm sure was the expression on my face at 18, which is, I'm trying as hard as I can to be an adult, but I'm a child.
Yeah.
And I think they did such a good job of doing that with the people cast in this movie, which I think is another thing that I feel like they did really well as a representation of what I imagine real life war is like, which is all these young dudes being sent off to die.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't like, you see other movies and it's, like these older or like Arnold Schwarzenegger
Monuments Men.
types. Yeah.
Just
I
kidding.
mean, that's also not normal, I think. I love in the Bill Murray Christmas special, the Monuments Men's joke.
Yeah.
And then there was something else we were watching recently and they were making jokes about it too.
We were listening to How Stuff Works and they were trying to remember the name of the movie and they kept calling it Museum Men.
Yeah, Museum Men with John Goodman. He was in that, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah,
anyway.
I think he was.
Yeah, they weren't
Matt
trying
Damon.
to. Yeah. They weren't trying to make it out like everyone there is like this buff, older dude who's there because like I said, who's there because it's very much this is what it was.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting. Like, I remember, I mean, obviously this was not the same war, but like my grandfather telling me that he was in World War II and
He was a paratrooper?
I'm pretty sure.
Which is so crazy.
Okay, so because my other Grandpa George, he was in it also, and he was Canadian. And I know the Canadians fought with the British, and one of them or both of them were paratroopers, and I can't remember who. I kind of think it might have been George. I think I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. But anyway, I remember Granddad telling me about coming back from war and marrying my grandmother. And I don't even think he was 21 when he returned.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he was, but that's the reality of it is they were all young.
Do you know what year he was born?
No, not off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
I don't. If he were alive now, I think because he was older than grandmother, so I think he'd be maybe like 90. So I don't know. I'm really terrible at math.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking like my grandpa was born in 1905, I think. Somewhere close there, give or take a year. And so if World War II was in like 1945, my grandpa would have been 40. And he didn't go. He tried to go, actually.
Really?
But he already had so many kids at that point that they were like, no, you need to stay here and take care of your family, basically.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. But yeah, he told me, we didn't talk about it in great detail, but he told me about when the war started, he was like, okay, let's go.
Wow.
I don't even know if he was a legal citizen at that point, but he was like, let's do this.
I think
let's fight some Nazis.
Yeah. I mean, I think for a lot of people that was a way to get their citizenship too.
I don't think that's why he was doing it.
No, I'm not saying that's why, but yeah, I don't remember exactly how, but I know Granddad was young because I think grandmother was like maybe 18, 19.
Yeah.
They were young, but yeah, I just remember here, they got married when he got back and he was young. And that's the reality of it. And that's crazy to think about.
It's super crazy, especially because obviously I've never met your grandfather. Excuse me. But from what I know and from what I've heard, it sounds like he and your grandmother were seriously in love.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy to how? How? How could you? Okay, here's a theory. My theory is maybe because they were so young, that who they were as people hadn't even really been formed yet, and so they formed together, and grew together, which I sort of feel like is the situation with my brother and his wife, who they started dating when they were 13, and now they're married with 2 kids.
I could see that, and how they met is one of the, I don't know what you call them, but one of the same people in Granddad's group was grandmother's brother.
In the war.
And so when they met, it's because...
Wait. So, sorry, finish that, but then I have a question.
So they met because, this is all my understanding, it could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure how they met is that my granddad came home with Milo from being deployed, because Granddad was from Washington, and he came to
home
Oregon
to visit, or from the war completely home
with Milo, and then visited there for a little bit, and that's when he met Grandmother. And
so
then
they didn't
I don't
even
know
meet until after the war.
Well, okay, that's what I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if this was after or during. And then I think this might have been during, and then they went back.
Sure.
I'm not super clear on the details.
Like maybe they did some training together, and then before they got deployed, they went to Oregon.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
he
my
met
mom would
Grandma or
know.
something.
My mom would know all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm fuzzy on the
Someone
details.
we still need to get on the phone.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. I think because they were so young and everything, like when you go through that with someone, that's going to be a permanent attachment. And so thinking about Granddad and Milo, that was their permanent attachment.
Yeah.
And then Grandmother, it was her brother and her brother's friend or her boyfriend or whatever he was at the time. Like those are very bonding situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were definitely like, I remember when he was diagnosed with lung cancer and he was given, I think, like 6 months to live. And there was this super experimental surgery. Yeah, my granddad. There was a very experimental surgery that most doctors did not want to perform because of his age and his health. And they found one doctor that would do it, and it was removing 3/4 of his lungs.
Wow.
Yeah. And when the doctors were like, do you understand the risks? He was like, yeah, but I just want 5 more years with my lovely wife. And he lived for like 7 years. Like they had given him 6 months. Like, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they were like very much in love. And I think they were a good team. I think that's the big part of it, is they were a good team. Yeah. Yeah. That's the end of that story.
Wow.
Yeah. But I do think part of their attachment was having met so young and at such a pivotal time. To your point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good that he was a good dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to sneeze.
Okay. Bless you.
Thank you.
How old were you when he passed?
I think I was 20.
30 years ago.
Yep, 30 years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting stuff. Very emotional.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, great movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
1917. I think I remember enjoying Monuments Men as well.
I liked it too. I think it was like a good amount of weird comic relief to a situation like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's something enjoyable too about there always being that misfit cast who doesn't fit in with what they're supposed to do, and that's why they're stuck together. And I think it actually, maybe I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people didn't realize how much art and artifacts were taken by the Nazis that were never recovered. And I think that kind of resurfaced that to them, to people.
Yeah.
That some of it was found, but a lot of it never was.
Yep.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I did enjoy Monuments Men. The cast was goofy.
Yeah. Definitely
a good blend.
A very different war vibe.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it has Bill Murray. I'm like 90% sure John Goodman is in that movie.
I'm pretty sure he is.
And
the boys.
And I feel like for me, John Goodman will always be Dan Connor And he will also always be, I can't even remember his name in the second Blues Brothers movie, but like that's how I grew up with John Goodman.
John Goodman is such a good actor and has done so many different roles. I really love him in Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah, me too.
And especially when you consider that, unless my timeline is wrong, that he's recording Righteous Gemstones as he's recording The Conners. Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating to me to think about being able to just like switch between two roles and do it so well.
Yeah, I agree. Especially one being a role he's played for so much of his life.
Yeah, true.
Like...
Yeah, it'd be very easy to be like, oh, John Goodman's just Dan Connor. And then you see him in all these other roles. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
This guy is so good at playing Dan Connor that you're convinced that that's who he is.
Yeah.
And then you see all this other stuff and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I felt that way about Steve Carell when I saw him before The Office. Mm-hmm. I think it was before The Office, at least. When I think the first time I saw Steve Carell was in Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh, weird.
And I was like, yeah, it was weird because I was like, this guy is my favorite actor. Like, he's amazing. I've never even thought about having a favorite actor, but like, this guy is the guy.
Yeah.
And then obviously not super long after was The Office, and then The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which like is what really brought him into like being a mainstream celebrity.
Yeah.
That was also 40-Year-Old Virgin, I think, was the first thing I saw Seth Rogen in.
That's crazy. It must have been, I mean, yeah, I think it was the first thing I saw him into. I didn't like it when I saw it.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious.
Until I saw Pineapple Express.
I didn't care for, I still don't care for Pineapple Express.
I think it's so funny.
I thought that you watched Freaks and Geeks as a kid.
No. I'd never seen it until I was an adult. And then I was like, oh, I need to see this because I love Seth Rogen. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I love Freaks and Geeks. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't watch it as a kid. Because it was such a like blip, I think. And I think I was too young for it.
What are you looking at me like that for?
She's like, give me breakfast. Second breakfast.
Applesauce is...
And 11sies.
I don't think you can see it in the video, and obviously you can't see it in the audio, but we have this table, and normally we don't have the other the other two chairs, but we have all four chairs here. Mm-hmm. So Applesauce is sitting like the third person of this show.
I think they see the top of her head. Oh. But not the chair. That's the thing. So yeah, it's pretty cute because she'll sit there and
hi, BB.
Look at us and look at us depending on who's talking. Sometimes she does it in the chair over there, which I don't think people can see at all. No. It's really cute.
She's really cute. You're really cute, Applesauce.
She's like, give me 11sies now. I demand 11sies.
So, while we're talking about movies, are there any other movies that you really love that like had a big impact or you just felt were like great? I have another one that we talked about recently, so I won't get into it too much, but Rogue One. I think Rogue One might be my favorite Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm. That is a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's been a long time since I've seen a movie that I felt was like crazy impactful on me.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be recent.
Yeah.
You've been alive a long time. Just picking
from the 50 years apparently I've been alive. I don't know, because I think I like movies for various reasons. We've talked about The Wind in the Willows. That was like my childhood favorite. Mm-hmm. And I like mostly like non-serious movies or movies with weird humor, like Rushmore. I love Rushmore.
What's your favorite Wes Anderson? Or give us top three.
Top three.
And they don't have to be in order.
Okay. I think Rushmore.
Okay.
Royal Tenenbaums, because I felt like that was very defining for his career.
Yeah.
And then honestly, it's a tie between Bottle Rocket and Fantastic Mr. Fox because they're so different.
Wow.
And I really love both of them. But I like every Wes Anderson movie because they're all so different from each other, but they all yet have these same threads woven throughout them that I feel like it makes it really difficult to pick one. Like I feel like everyone's going to say
what you love is his style of making films.
Exactly. And I feel like everyone says their favorite is the first one that they saw. I don't think there's anyone who watches 4 different ones and then is like, the second one I saw is my favorite.
My favorite is not the first that I saw.
What's the first that you saw?
Amazing Steve Zissou and
The Life Aquatic with Steve
Underwater
Zissou.
Life or something.
Okay. Interesting.
I was like, this is dumb. I don't like this. And then I saw Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah. We saw Darjeeling Limited together.
Right, but I'm going in order of when I saw them.
Okay.
I saw Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah, you got me surprise tickets.
I did get you.
Yeah, to the theater by our house.
That served beer, that one?
Yeah.
Is that where we watched it?
Yeah. You took me there as a total surprise. You wouldn't let me look at any of the signs, any of the tickets, nothing.
Yeah. It's weird because when I think about our relationship, I don't think about surprises being a big part of it. But if you lay them out...
You love surprises.
I kind of do.
You love them so much.
Like, when we first moved here, which, by the way, the day of which I'm referring, I saw in my Instagram feed, and we realized that it was actually, like, almost exactly a week ago.
Yeah. She switched chairs.
When Hi, baby. When I surprised you because I knew it was snowing in Park City, and we were getting a lift out there. And that was funny because I put in the notes, I'm surprising my girlfriend. Don't say where we're going. And then we get in the car and the guy goes, so going to Park City, huh? And I'm like, cool. Now I'm going to sit here for the next 25 minutes being annoyed at you. I hate you so much. You ruined the surprise. You're the worst person on the planet. Anyway, so that.
Yeah.
The other day I surprised you with noodles.
Yeah.
I guess I surprised you with those tickets. What are some other surprises?
A lot of things. You surprised me with the headphones. You had me open them on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You love surprises.
Those were the headphones that I actually bought.
When you bought our first real sofa, you surprised me with it. You had me close my eyes before I came into the apartment, and you picked me up, and you were carrying me, and then you dropped me on it. And the whole time I'm like, in my head.
Because at the time, our furniture was all made out of pallets.
Yeah, it was all pallet furniture. I was like, is he really going to drop me onto our pallet sofa right now? Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I do like a good surprise.
You love
I don't
a good
necessarily
surprise.
like being surprised.
No, you don't.
I like surprising. It must be a power dynamic thing.
Yeah, you like surprising other people, especially me. It's really sweet.
I'm pretty sweet, I guess.
Yeah. So you saw Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Yeah.
And then Moonrise Kingdom.
Moonrise Kingdom.
And then...
I loved Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. It was incredible. And then I think afterward we watched, I think Incredible Mr. Fox came out after.
Yeah, I think so.
And I was like, yeah, this is good. Like, I appreciate it. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. Grand Budapest Hotel, I think, came next.
Right.
I love that one too.
That's what I was going to say. Grand Budapest Hotel. I would say those are my two favorites.
I love that one also. Yeah, it's tough to pick a favorite. And like, I love Wes Anderson so much. So Bottle Rock is very nostalgic, even though it's definitely not the first one that I saw.
What's it called?
Bottle Rock.
Bottle Rock?
Yeah.
Not Bottle Rocket? Because I'm pretty sure that's what you said earlier. I think you're getting it confused now with the
I think I am too.
The music festival in Napa.
Yeah. I need more coffee.
Bottle Rock.
Yeah, it's Bottle Rocket.
Yeah, that's what you said the first time.
Yeah. Anyway, Bottle Rocket.
Uh-huh.
So he, in college, he went to college with Owen Wilson. That's how they met. They wrote it together. It was the first of their movies that they wrote together. And just so many little things about it really define his style. And when you think about where he was in his basically non-existent film career at the time.
Yeah.
And then all the elements that have continued to carry through.
Sure.
And in that movie, because at a certain point, after a few movies, he stopped writing with Owen Wilson.
Because Owen Wilson got so caught up in the Zoolander series.
Yeah. No, I think they just were like doing their own things.
Yeah.
That you then noticed what even like dialogue elements had been probably Owen Wilson the whole time.
Yeah.
And like different themes in it where you're like, oh, I always thought that was Wes Anderson, but that was Owen Wilson adding that element. Like it's super fascinating to see. So if you watch them in order, you really see Wes Anderson develop his own style, and then you see as he switches writing partners, what elements carry on and what ones don't.
Huh.
Yeah.
So you really get a vibe for what really was Wes Anderson versus someone else.
There's so many visual elements that are very, very, very much him. And his brother, Eric, does a lot of illustrations in his movies. And so you see little different things. Like in Darjeeling Limited, their luggage sets, those were designed by his brother, Eric. And so you just see like a lot of little visual things throughout the movies too that are not necessarily Wes Anderson himself, but kind of like how he works with the same cast and crew for a lot of things. You see those elements in set design. You see those elements in other things where it's like this continual flow throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's like they're kind of one big story, even though they're not.
Huh.
And I really love that. And that makes it really hard to pick favorites too. I mean, Fantastic Mr. Fox, I loved Roald Dahl as a kid. Fun fact about Roald Dahl, he was actually a British spy, and being an author was his cover.
But he actually wrote books, or somebody else wrote them?
He
and
wrote
just
them.
Put his...
He wrote the children's books, but that was never his actual career. He was a spy.
Isn't there a movie about him and about that?
Probably. But I
Seems like
loved
that'd be a
him.
good movie
I
to
loved his
watch.
books as a kid.
Yeah.
So for me, and Fantastic Mr. Fox is like 20 pages. It's like a tiny sit down, read it 15
Well,
minutes.
he was busy spying.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't have time for...
No. But he wrote like Matilda and BFG and like James and the Giant Peach, like all these other classics.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, so I think I have a soft spot for Fantastic Mr. Fox because I loved Roald Dahl so much as a kid too. And seeing the two together was pretty amazing to see Wes Anderson's take on what I had imagined in my head for this book.
George Clooney. Another guy in Monuments Men.
Also in a Wes Anderson, a lot of Wes Anderson movies.
Also in a lot of Wes Anderson stuff. And
Yeah.
also in Bill Murray's Very Merry Christmas.
Bill Murray also in nearly every Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I love those connections.
Yeah, it's cool when you see something like Hollywood, which in so many different ways can sort of seem maybe vapid. Mm-hmm. Is that the right word? Or just kind of empty or like...
Disjointed,
yeah. And maybe built on like, I think, at least, I don't know if this is reality, but what we've kind of been taught is like that it's all a bunch of fake people and blah, 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 blah. So it's so cool to see these people who it seems are legitimately friends.
Yeah.
And have been for decades.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's so fascinating to think about like Bill Murray and Jason Schwartzman, who have been in a bunch of Wes Anderson things together. And in their first one, Rushmore, Jason Schwartzman was 16 when that was filmed. So Bill Murray is essentially like been, part of his life for so long. Who knows if they actually get along, but it's interesting to think about.
I could see them getting along really well.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like Bill Murray and Jason Schwartzman are legitimately very good friends.
Yeah, I love Jason Schwartzman. I think he obviously has grown up with a lot of privilege because of his family, but I think he's someone who is an actor because he loves to act. I don't think he's in it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know him, obviously. But I feel like he's one of those actors that's like, I'm going to do this movie because I think it's weird and funny.
How hard do you think it would be to get someone like Jason Schwartzman on this podcast?
Oh, incredibly hard.
Because it's Jason Schwartzman and he probably doesn't do a lot of stuff like this, or because he's famous?
I think both, but I think it'd be kind of like, I imagine him being kind of like Michael Cera, where they're not doing it because they want to be famous,
Sure.
but they happen to be. So a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff is like uncomfortable and awkward, and that's why you don't see most of it from them. You don't see that much.
Interesting. I think we should pick someone who's like mainstream famous and then make it a goal to get them on.
Okay.
Who should we pick? You like that little whistle? Who should we pick?
I didn't even hear it. I have no idea.
Okay, well, we'll think on it.
Okay.
It's got to be someone that we both love.
I think that makes it challenging.
Really? You think
Yeah.
we don't love a lot of the same people?
Yes and no. I think that the margin, there's some overlap for sure.
What do you think the overlap is? Who do you think those people are?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, this was fun.
Who do you think they are?
Oh, well, there are some people that I think might be, well, who are, I guess we'd have to first decide what level of celebrity we're talking about.
Yeah, because you said mainstream, which implies
Right.
pretty big.
Right. So I wonder if like we could get someone like Josh Gates or someone from Ghost Nation or Ghost Hunters?
Ghost Nation.
Ghost Nation on.
But I wouldn't say that they're mainstream.
No. That's
the
what I'm
thing.
saying. We'd have to decide on a level.
Yeah.
But maybe, yeah.
I think Josh Gates is one of the few celebrities that if I met them, I would be like, I don't know what to say. This is so awkward and weird because I like, yeah.
Because you love him so much.
Yeah. I think I would just be like, I would probably just like blurt out something strange and be really awkward.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah. Because I don't get that way when I have met celebrities, really.
What celebrities have you met?
Not a ton. I've
Yeah.
not met a ton.
I wouldn't say I've met really any.
But they've been mostly like more.
Oh, you know who we met?
Who?
I don't remember his name, but the guy from The Princess Bride, he goes, inconceivable!
Oh, Mr. Hall from Clueless.
Mr. Hall from Clueless. We met him in Vancouver.
In Vancouver with Lush. He was coming out of the hotel we were all staying at, and we were all there as a group. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, nope, I'm not an actor. Nope, I don't know what you're talking about. I love that he played it off that way. Yeah. I
He
think
was awesome.
most of who I've met have been like musicians.
Who's, like who?
I met Ben Queller a couple times. He was really nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Matt Sharp, who used to be in Weezer. That was weird.
Why was it weird?
I think he...
Okay, never mind. This doesn't sound like
I was going to
it's...
say, I think he didn't realize that people don't know who he is. Maybe.
But you did know who he was.
I knew who he was, but like he was in Weezer for like the Blue album and Pinkerton and like early Weezer, early Weezer when they were really popular, but not yet super duper mainstream, I would say. Like Buddy Holly was very mainstream.
Sure.
But like, yeah.
There are also plenty of band members who I would have no idea what they look like.
Yeah, totally.
Like because
Yeah.
I don't watch. You make music. I listen to it with my
Yeah.
ears. I wouldn't. Just like a radio host. Be
Yeah.
Like, oh.
My brother told me, because he lived in Portland for a while, and his roommates were our friends that were in bands, so they would always go to local shows, and they were like, yeah, Pat from Weezer is at a lot of them, like Art from Everclear is at a lot of them, and no one knows who these people are, and like you can tell they kind of love it, because they just go to all these local shows and just like hang out, and people don't really bother them. I think that's also kind of an Oregon thing, though, to be honest.
That people are just so used to so many amazing artists walking among them that they just there's no starstruckery.
Yeah, in a way, you're just like, okay, all right. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if this was rumor or true, but supposedly the house that Grammy and George had their beach house in, Sylvester Stallone had a house there because no one would know. And people would see him around town. Like one of the neighbors said that they ran into him and everyone's just like, oh, that guy. I kind of recognize him. Like, yeah. Which is perfect. If I were Sylvester Stallone, I would have a house somewhere like that too.
Yeah, rich people got to live somewhere.
Yeah. He didn't live there all the time. He would just visit occasionally.
Okay. Rich people have to vacation somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if I met Josh Gates, I would just be like, tell me everything. But it would come out really strange. Yeah. I don't know. It's Josh Gates.
Yeah.
And I feel like, too, he is such a tall person that I would just be like, you know what I mean? Like, from the get-go, it would be awkward if I actually met him in person. I'd be like staring up. You're 3 feet taller than I am.
It seems like whenever you meet like a new friend that's super tall, you love it because you know how ridiculous it looks.
It looks ridiculous, but it makes certain things really awkward. Like hugging, hello, and goodbye are very uncomfortable because I'm like, my face is the height of your armpit. Like, this is so strange. And how do we do this? Like, yeah, but it is funny to stand next to really tall people.
Yeah,
and I'm not incredibly short.
If I had to guess too, my guess would be Josh Gates probably wouldn't hug you hello, goodbye.
No, not at all. But just, I'd be like, in my mind, he's like as tall as like the ceiling. I know he's not in real life. Not as the ceiling. Maybe as the light fixture, like what's added onto it. Anyway, because I know he's like 6'4" or 6'5". Like, he's over 6 feet for sure. And you see him on the show.
Almost, if not half inch or half foot taller than me.
Yeah, like you see him on the show standing next to like people who look like their normal height.
Yeah.
And he makes them look tiny.
Yeah.
So I think from the get-go it would be awkward, and then I would probably proceed to make it more awkward because I'm good at that. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's funny to me.
Yeah. But I feel like if it was like, there are other, like you mentioned Ghost Nation. If it was like Dave from Ghost Nation, I'd be like, I remember the episode where you got stuck under a porch. So like, I'm not intimidated by you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
what about you though?
What about me?
Who would you want to have on the show? If there were these options and they were real and tangible.
Yeah. Well, if I'm trying to get away from people that I think would be really easy to get, or at least significantly easier, right? Like for example, it might be fun to have Gary Vee on, and he's busy, and there are a lot of like logistics behind why that would be complicated.
Yeah.
But I also like, I don't think it would be that hard either, right? So getting away from those people, I'm not totally sure. I think one thing that we're both realizing is that maybe there aren't a ton of like mainstream popular people that either of us are super.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see like, okay, Mike Myers. That's totally random, but what?
Questionable. Okay.
You don't like Mike Myers?
Early Mike Myers, I think is funny. Later Mike Myers, I think his humor did not age well.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I felt like after Austin Powers, a lot of it was, even at the time, I was like, this is pretty offensive.
Oh, I don't know that I've seen a lot of, I mean, I just think of Wayne's World.
I love Wayne's
When
World.
I think of Mike Myers.
Yeah.
And then, like, I always forget that he was Austin Powers. That's so, I guess he did a really good job because I don't think of.
You don't think of him as Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else?
Well, only because we've been watching Parks and Rec while we've been working. So I think of like Rob Lowe.
Huh.
I think, which is funny because also Wayne's World.
Yeah. That's why I don't like Rob Lowe. In my mind, he's such a scummy guy because of Wayne's World.
Give him a break. It was so long ago.
I know, but I think I saw that when I was so young that was, I think, for a long time, the only thing I ever saw Rob Lowe in, because I loved Wayne's World and I watched it a lot. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Well, again, going with that same kind of line of thought would be Nick Offerman.
I love Nick Offerman.
Which I could see being difficult because he's Nick Offerman, but I could see being easier than other celebrities because he has his own podcast. And so,
yeah,
But I would also imagine that he's probably not super easy to just get in touch with.
I think he's a Michael Cera type.
Megan Mullally, who is married to Nick Offerman, she would be amazing. See, the problem is I'm not coming up with people that like have had an impact on my whole life or whatever. My brain is only picking people that I'm like thinking about right now in the current state of things. And anyway, so I think I'd have to think on it a bit more.
Yeah, totally.
Because, obviously, people like Mark Hamill. Like, if we're talking like huge,
like your dream guest.
Just Also, because I think Mark Hamill seems like a pretty cool dude. Like his Twitter is like super anti-Trump, which always cracks me up.
Yeah, he's very politically active and vocal.
At least on Twitter. I don't know if he is in real life. I don't know him.
Yeah, it's true. I would just assumed he was.
So, sorry, that totally threw me off.
Mark Hamill.
It's fine. Yeah, Mark Hamill, who, because of his stuff with like playing the voice of the Joker in like Batman cartoons.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it makes me think that he's pretty cool. And he was also in like, I think it's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Is that the movie where Mark Hamill's in it at the end?
I don't remember.
I want to say that Carrie Fisher is also in that movie.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember either. It was so long ago that I saw that movie. There was someone else. Man, they were right on the tip of my tongue.
Applesauce?
No, not applesauce. Applesauce is not a big enough celebrity, and she's too easy to get on the show.
She's way too available for the show.
If anything, it's hard to get her not on the show. All right, well, I think I'm going to think on my answers a little more.
Okay.
And I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, yeah.
You want to take us out?
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome.
I hope that you have a great day, and we will see you next time.